Hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer battle. This is going to be the Vampire Coast versus the Empire. And we're going to get into a little bit of an artillery fight here because the main component of my army is going to be a gunnery wight supporting 4 artillery pieces, 2 carronades, and then 2 mortar teams. You can see that the missile damage of the carronades has already been buffed up because we have the enchanted ballistics, I believe is the trait that the gunnery wight has. Enchanted ballistics is a temporary buff which increases accuracy and reload skill. What is the actual... No? Deadeye, sorry. So Deadeyes is what's increasing the missile damage and the armor-piercing missile damage of all the units around the gunnery wight, so we have that going. The Enchanted Ballistics, again, is obviously a really good thing to have to support your artillery platforms to increase their accuracy, and they will be firing faster. On top of that, he has the Cackle Fruit and the Bomb Throw, which are both just kind of short-range missiles. They do an okay amount of damage. I think they're relatively cheap, and you get a lot of charges for them, so I like that just to throw into mostly fodder units. You know, if the enemy tries to overwhelm you with like light infantry or something, you can just throw these into them. But besides that, we also have the more powder, which he can, for 4 times throughout the battle, increase the ammunition of any ranged unit. So in this game, we're going to probably be utilizing that for our carronades or our mortars. This also is really good with Queen Bess, because Queen Bess has very low ammunition. So if you get a gunnery wight, you can kind of keep her firing for a lot longer. If she is safe from enemy artillery fire and just other units in general, it's a pretty nice ability to have with the more powder. It's pretty cool. So that's going to be our artillery platform. You can see that I already have the enchanted ballistics going down. So they are going to be firing towards these Demigryph Knights with halberds. They got 1 or 2 salvos in with the carronades, but now the enemy is actually actively dodging. So we're going to be switching up our fire to the enemy forces over here. But for the rest of our army, we have a front line of 4 of these sword deckhand mobs. We have 3 polearm deckhand mobs. And then we also have 1 of the depth guard, the Bloody Reaver deck guard, with the ability to increase their damage resistance by 44%, something like that. By a lot, for a limited amount of time. And then we also have the renowned unit for the handgun black spot here, which are going to be the anti-large melee forces. They kind of have like halberds, or I guess they have like bayonets at the end of their guns, technically. Yeah, there they are. So this gives them a lot of damage in melee against large targets. You really got to be aware of these guys, especially if you charge like some light cav into them. They will wreck some light cav pretty quickly. But on top of that, they also do have massive amounts of volley fire with the armor piercing missile damage of 19, because there are just so many zombies there. So I think the black spot is just really a solid unit all around, because it kind of counters a natural counter for units like this, and that is fast moving like light infantry, or heck, light cav, even heavy cav. But even against heavy cav, these guys can do a really good amount of damage in melee. And they also have charge defense versus large, so as long as you are facing the enemy cav charge, you won't take any of their charge bonus, which really kind of cripples a lot of the, especially like the shock cav units in the game. So they are a very nice unit to have. So that is our we're also being led by Siloistra Direfin on top of her crab to make her super tanky. I brought the fog spell, which is a debuff, which I think is really good. I also brought the summon of the crab spell, which is pretty good. And we also have the spiteful accuracy, I think is what it's called, which is going to increase the accuracy of a unit by like plus 90, and I think I popped that on one of these carronades. There it is right there. Spiteful shot. Plus 90 to accuracy and gives them magical damage as well. So we already popped that on one of our carronades to just increase their accuracy. And that is our army there. Alright, for the enemy army, you can already see that they have a Sunmaker rocket battery, Hellstorm rocket battery, sorry, which can do massive amounts of damage, and it's already actually done a lot of damage to our depth guard. That is the unit that they are targeting. So from here on out, you're going to see that I'm going to be actively moving my army back and forth, dodging these shots, or at least doing my best to dodge, just as the enemy is dodging our carronades here, which is exactly why I switched our carronade fire over into Volkmar the Grim. This is their leader. He is on his fancy chariot here. They brought the Banishment spell, the Grand Soulfire, the Grand Hammer, and the item that gives him regeneration, because you always want to bring this item. Anything that gives you regeneration, you always bring it, especially on a Lord. It's one of the reasons why you bring this guy. Especially on chariot, because he's going to be pretty good in melee. He can kind of get in, get out, and support your troops with the spells here. On top of that, we also have a Witch Hunter with Accusation. Not much to say about that. It's a Witch Hunter that shoots its gun. I kind of wish you could mount these guys, at least on horses. That would be pretty cool. Anyway, for the front line, they also have 2 spearmen with shields. Their midline is going to be made up of 3 halberdiers, so you can see that they are worried about anti-large damage here. They have 1 greatsword I think they probably brought for any depth guard that we brought into our army, which we did. So it's a good choice there, bringing this 1 greatsword unit into the mix. We also have 3 crossbowmen, which I think are very solid against the Vampire Coast, because all their units, or at least most of them, are going to be rocking very low armor, so the crossbowmen can do really good really good against those. We also have one group of these silver bullets, which I think is also a nice pick because they are stalking, so it's kind of hard to shoot them down with artillery fire because you just can't see them, and then they can just focus down any armored target that you bring. So it's just, they've always been a good unit to bring in almost like any army pick. And of course then the Sunmaker Hellstorm rocket battery. Then way over here, of course, the Demigryph Knights with halberds. And that is going to be the army compositions. And we are going to be in a just dueling artillery fire. So you can see we're just moving back and forth. And I'm just trying to make sure that the Depth Guard are separated from everyone else. So like I was moving the black spot over here. And I'm just trying to keep them away from everyone, because the Hellstorm rocket battery just has such a wide area of effect. So it's best if they're targeting one specific unit to keep them away from the rest of your units. So we're going to start dodging here. There we go. And I'm not going to charge. Listen, I put a lot of money into supporting our carronades and our mortar teams, and I think that overall, we can deal a lot more damage to them than they can to us, because especially since I'm just dodging the rocket battery here. I have been shooting Volkmar the Grim, so doing some decent damage there. I'm going to be switching up some of our carronades, I believe, to shoot into the greatswords, because that is a threat that I am worried about. Actually, I guess that went to the halberdiers, but I will be focusing on the greatswords with the carronade. Now, ideally, we're shooting the Demigryph Knights and Volkmar with the carronade, but I was afraid of them just dodging our shots, because they already shown that they have the micro to dodge cannon shots with their Demigryph Knights. So I'm like, with the faster units like them and Volkmar, it may be hard to get a lot of hits. So I'm like, you know what? Who can't dodge and who is a threat? The greatswords. So while cannons are not necessarily meant to kill greatswords, they can. As you can see here, they will do some damage, and they have penetration there. Actually got a hit on the silver bullets too, which is kind of cool. And then when our mortar teams get in range, you're going to... Oh, there they are. They're going to start shooting up the crossbowmen, because the crossbowmen are a very tasty target for our mortar teams. They are very low armored and are just the perfect targets for our mortar teams to fire into. Oh, that would have been such a good shot if we actually got in the center of the formation. But anyway, so that's who our units are going to be targeting for the most part. Mortar teams on the crossbowmen, because I can't see the silver bullets right now. And then our cannons are going to be split between the greatswords and I think one into Volkmar, although that one hit the halberdiers. I think they're supposed to be targeting Volkmar the Grim. And I will eventually be switching one of our cannons to target these guys. And maybe pretty soon... There we go. So I saw that they actually stopped, so I thought that maybe the enemy was not paying attention to them anymore, so we shoot once in there. So we get a shot in there. And I think I may keep this cannon on the Demigryph Knights from here on out. Over here, actually, I don't even know how they got injured. I don't think I shot these guys with a cannon. In any case, though, you can see that the Hellstorm rocket battery is actually going to utterly destroy one of our mortar teams. I was not expecting it to do so much damage because its damage is so widespread. But yeah, like, it totally just destroyed a mortar team. But our mortar teams and our cannons are still doing a lot of good damage here. We have the greatswords down by 1/3. This group is down by 1/3. We almost have these guys down by half. So they've done a lot of good damage so far. And you can see that the enemy is like, oh, well, if I can destroy one mortar team, let's destroy the other mortar team. So the Hellstorm rocket battery is just massacring our mortar teams, but not our cannons, which I value more than the mortars. So you can see that we did a temporary movement forward. The enemy thought that we were going to be charging, so they cast the banishment. I just pulled back and just let the banishment kind of just fade away. That's what we're going to be doing there. Meanwhile, the black spot is going to be on this flank because I know that these guys are going to be charging at some point. So you can see that I'm already issuing attack orders over there. The cannon will eventually start shooting into the Demigryph Knights again because they started actively dodging, so it'll be a waste of shots. So I just switched them up to shoot out the greatswords again because they are, again, a big threat to our depth guard and to everything else that we really brought for the most part. We need to make sure that they are out of the fight before the battle even starts. Volkmar the Grim here, I think he may actually start a charge through our zombie pirate deckhand mob here pretty soon. And you can see the Hellstorm rocket battery has taken out most of our mortars. We still have the cannons, so I'm still okay. The mortars did do some decent damage to the crossbows, so again, I am okay with that exchange. And now the Hellstorm rocket battery is out of ammunition, so there are no more rockets that we need to worry about. We have the black spot over here getting a nice salvo into the Demigryph Knights, just doing so much damage to them. And we, have blockers here and here. You have 2 units in case they send infantry and the Demigryph Knights after the black spot, because I do not want them to die. So here we go. One of our first summons, the Damned Knights Errant. I believe I'm actually going to send this way and around to try... Oh, sorry. I send them this way and around into the crossbows. And I think this is when I'm going to see the silver bullets, or I just saw them recently. So we're going to be running them back here. The Demigryph Knights probably should be responding, but you see that they're going to instead just use one of their halberdiers. Halberdiers, good anti-large, but the thing is, Knights Errant are going to be faster than them because they are on horses, even if they are spiritual horses. Meanwhile, in the front line, we're going to have Volkmar the Grim buffing up their soldiers. I'm going to counter their buff with the Fog of the Damned, cast by Siloistra Direfin. So all their melee attack and leadership is going to be lowered, so our zombies are going to be able to hold out for a little bit longer. You can see that I'm going to be bringing the Depth Guard over here to be kind of like bodyguards for Siloistra, and we maneuver around the halberdiers there because we are faster, so we get a nice charge into the silver bullets and into these crossbows. Meanwhile, they can't find a way in to our army with the Demigryph Knights because we're just zoning them out with the black spots. So the Demigryph Knights are just getting shot up by these guys, and I'll be shooting them up again with the Carronades here pretty soon. Pokemon the Grim coming in, dropping their Grand Soulfire spell here, but then I'm going to be able to surround them with the Death Guard. I don't know if they really realized that these were Death Guard, and maybe they thought they were just basic Zombie Pirate deckhand mobs. Even still, though, like, this is not a good situation for Pokemon the Grim. You can see I also summoned some of the Lobster Crabs, and just kind of we pinned them in here, so that's really bad news for good old Volkmar. Meanwhile, Celestra and the Lobster Crew are going to go off and try and finish off the Witch Hunter because this guy is just surrounded in just really bad spot. The Great Swords, we did a lot of damage, but they still are chewing through our Zombie Pirate deckhand mobs. That is to be expected. I believe I had my... Well, that's the end of the game. They are going to... That's it. Most of the battle was really just an artillery exchange between mine and theirs. When the fight started, though, like, the Great Swords were already heavily damaged. I'm not entirely sure why they ran Volkmar the Grim up here. I just assumed that they didn't notice that those were Depth Guard and thought they were basic zombies and maybe that they could force their way through. I'm not entirely sure. And then, like, their Demigryph Knights were just... They tried so desperately to find a way into our army, but, like, that's why I had the Black Spot out there. The Black Spot had, like, an area of influence for basically like this. Because, you know, of the range they can shoot their guns. And I think that's what the enemy was afraid of. And I kept, you know, poking them with the Carronades, and they just couldn't stop my cannons. And yeah, so they weren't. I don't think they shattered at that point, but they were pretty close because Volkmar was going to die. The Witch Hunter was, I think, about to die or already dead, and like we had taken out most of their backline with that Knight Errant charge. So that is going to be a GG to Juke G. So the Halberds, they tried to maneuver in between the Knight Errant and the crossbows and the silver bullets, but horses are faster than humans. So while the Halberdiers are good at killing the knights, the thing is that they need to be able to move fast enough to stop them. So we were able to maneuver around them and just stop those silver bullets before they can even really get any work done. Because without the silver bullets, they didn't really have too much of an answer for Siloistra herself, besides these Demigryph Knights, but they were already so haggard by the time that the enemy army reached me. Because they kind of, you notice their starting position, they were ready to camp. They had their Hailstone rocket battery. They were just kind of in a nice formation that would block a charge for me going forward and to the right from, you know, because we were down here, they were up here using the lake or the hole in the lake as a natural barrier. So they were ready to just sit there and pepper my army with a bunch of rockets. I don't think they were expecting all of the artillery from my side to bring against the Empire, because the Empire has, you know, pretty good cannons. So they probably thought that I wouldn't bring cannons because, you know, they could be countered by the Empire. But I kind of ended up screwing them up because they could have deployed a lot further ahead. Actually, well, I'll discuss that in the replay. Is there anything else I want to show you stat-wise? I don't think so. So yeah, I think we could just jump into the cinematic view, I guess. So what I was talking about real quick is they could have deployed their forces. I believe the edge of their deployment zone is like right here. And so that would have been a much easier charge across there to try and counter my artillery. But they had deployed kind of far back because, again, they were expecting to be on the defensive. So that really kind of, because that added so much travel time for their army to maneuver around here, reform their lines into the presentable, you know, formation, and then charge. So that really helped me out because it gave me so much more time to just pepper all their forces. So yeah, their deployment kind of got them on this one. Not often we get to see a Hellstorm rocket battery too. It wrecked my motors though, my goodness. If they had targeted my artillery platforms instead of my Death Guard for so long, like this could have been so much different. Because my artillery platforms, I was not threatened by the Hellstorm in terms of my artillery at all. Because I was just like, well, you know, its damage is so widespread, like what's the chances of it actually dealing that much damage to our zombie crews? Pretty high! Pretty high as it turns out. Very, very high. But luckily, they were targeting my fast-moving Death Guard. They did get one good hit on... Oh! Okay. Well... That's okay. We'll forget that one. Oh! Okay, that didn't hit them. Friendly fire, huh? Fire! There we go. Yeah, enough rockets hit to just murder my poor mortars. And it looks like the Witch Hunter actually got a shot or two off on my death guard there too. Whew. What are they even shooting at? Oh, I guess just my zombie mobs. Yeah, take that, Demigriffs. Black spot is ready. I think that's the only shot they get off there, though. Maybe not. I hear the firing again. Move around the halberds. Murder the gunners. Oh, friendly fire again. I think the Demigriff Knights finally... Yeah, there we go. They got to charge off. Into my zombie pirates, though, so then they're just going to get shot in the back. Oh, God. And getting shot at with cannons. Those poor Demigriffs. They couldn't find a way in. It was a rough situation for them. Like, they had to just take the gunfire, but they kept just kind of staying at the edge, so I was able to just kind of slowly pepper them down. Anyway, that's going to do it for the battle replay here, everybody. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.